Leviticus 11. Food. God spoke to Moses and Aaron. Speak to the people of Israel. Tell them, of all the animals on earth, these are the animals that you may eat. You may eat any animal that has a split hoof divided in two, and that chews the cud, but not an animal that only chews the cud or only has a split hoof. For instance, the camel chews the cud but doesn't have a split hoof, so it's unclean. Rock badger chews the cud but doesn't have a split hoof, and so it's unclean. The rabbit chews the cud but doesn't have a split hoof, so it's unclean. The pig has a split hoof divided in two, but doesn't chew the cud, and so is unclean. You may not eat their meat nor touch their carcasses. They are unclean to you. Among the creatures that live in the water of the seas and streams, you may eat any that have fins and scales. But anything that doesn't have fins and scales, whether in sea or streams, whether small creature in the shallows or huge creatures in the deeps, you are to detest. Yes, detest them. Don't eat their meat. Detest their carcasses. Anything living in the water that doesn't have fins and scales is detestable to you. These are the birds you are to detest. Don't eat them. They are detestable: eagle, vulture, osprey, kite, all falcons, all ravens, ostrich, nighthawk, seagull, all hawks, owl, cormorant, ibis, water hen, pelican, Egyptian vulture, stork, all herons, hoopoes, bat, all flying insects that walk on all fours are detestable to you, but you can eat some of these, namely those that have jointed legs for hopping on the ground, or locust, catibis, crickets, and grasshoppers. But all the other flying insects that have four legs you are to detest. You make yourselves ritually unclean until evening if you touch their carcasses. If you pick up one of their carcasses, you must wash your clothes and you will be unclean until evening. Every animal that has a split hoof that's not completely divided, or that doesn't chew the cud, is unclean for you. If you touch the carcass of any of them, you become unclean. Every four-footed animal that goes on its paws is unclean for you. If you touch its carcass, you are unclean until evening. If you pick up its carcass, you must wash your clothes and are unclean until evening. They are unclean for you. Among the creatures that crawls on the ground, the following are unclean for you: weasel, rat, or lizard, gecko, monitor lizards, or wall lizard, skink, chameleon, among the cruel creatures. These are unclean for you. If we touch them when they are dead, you are ritually unclean until evening. When one of them dies and falls on something that becomes unclean, to matter what it's used for, whether it's made of wood, cloth, hide, or sackcloth, but it in the water, it's unclean until evening, and then it's clean. If one of these dead creatures fall into a clay pot, everything in the pot is unclean, and you must break the pot. Any food that could be eaten but has water on it from such a pot is unclean, and any liquid that could be drunk from it is unclean. Anything that one of these carcasses fall on is unclean. An oven or cooking pot must be broken. They are unclean and must be treated as unclean. A spring, dove, or a cistern for collecting water remains clean. But if we touch one of these carcasses, you are ritually unclean. If a carcass falls on any seeds that are to be planted, they remain clean. But if water has been put on the seed and carcass falls on it, you must treat it as unclean. If an animal that you are permitted to eat dies, anyone who touches the carcass is ritually unclean until evening. If you eat some of the carcass, you must wash your clothes, and you are unclean until evening. If you pick up the carcass, you must wash your clothes and are unclean until evening. Creatures that crawls on the ground are detestable and not to be eaten. Don't eat creatures that crawls on the ground, whether on their belly or on all fours or on many feet. They are detestable. Don't make yourselves unclean or be defiled by them, because I am your God. Make yourselves holy, for I am holy. Don't make yourselves ritually unclean by any creature that crawls on the ground. I am God who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. Be holy, because I am holy. These are the instructions on animals, bird, fish, and creature that crawls on the ground. You have to distinguish between the ritually unclean and the clean, between living creatures that can be eaten and those that cannot be eaten. Leviticus 12. Childbirth. God spoke to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel, a woman who conceived and gave birth to a boy is ritually unclean for 7 days, the same as during her menstruation. On the 8th day, circumcise the boy. The mother must stay home another 33 days for purification from her bleeding. She may not touch anything consecrated or enter the sanctuary until the days of her purification are complete. If she gives birth to a girl, she is unclean for 14 days, the same as during her menstruation. She must stay home for 66 days for a purification from her breeding. When the days for her purification for either a boy or a girl are complete, she will bring a yearling lambs for a whole burnt offering, and a pigeon or dove for an absolution offering to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. He will offer it to God and make atonement for her. She is then clean from her flow of blood. These are the instructions for a woman who gives birth to either boy or girl. If she can't afford a lamb, she can bring 2 doves or 2 pigeons, one for the whole burnt offering and one for the absolution offering. The priest will make atonement for her and she will be clean. Leviticus 13. Infections. God spoke to Moses and Aaron. When someone has a swelling or a blister or a shiny spot on the skin, that might signal a serious skin disease on the body. Bring him to Aaron the priest or to one of his priest's sons. The priest will examine the sore on the skin. If the hair in the sore has turned white and the sore appears more than skin deep, it is serious skin disease and infectious. After the priest has examined it, he will pronounce the person unclean. If the shiny spot on the skin is white but appears to be only on the surface and the hair has not turned white, the priest will quarantine the person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest will examine it again. If, in his judgment, the sore is the same and has not spread, the priest will keep him in quarantine for another 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest will examine him a second time. If the sore has faded and hasn't spread, the priest will declare him clean. It is a harmless rash. The person can go home and wash his clothes. He is clean. But if the sore spread after he has shown himself to the priest and been declared clean, he must come back again to the priest, who will conduct another examination. If the sore has spread, the priest will pronounce him unclean. It is a serious skin disease and infectious. Whenever someone has a serious and infectious skin disease, you must bring him to the priest. The priest will examine him. If there is a white swelling in the skin, the hair is turning white, and there is an open sore in the swelling, it is a chronic skin disease. The priest will pronounce him unclean, but he doesn't need to quarantine him because he's already given his diagnosis of unclean. If a serious disease breaks out that covers all the skins from head to foot, whenever the priest looks, the priest will make a thorough examination. If the disease covers his entire body, he will pronounce the people with the sore clean. Since it has turned white, he is clean. But if they are open, running sores, he is unclean. The priest will examine the open sores and pronounce him unclean. The open sores are unclean. They are evidence of a serious skin disease. But if the open sores dry up and turn white, he is to come back to the priest, who will re-examine him. If the sores has turned white, the priest will announce the person with the sores clean. He is clean. When a person has a boil and it heals, and in the place of the boil there is white swelling or a reddish white shiny spot, the person must present himself to the priest for an examination. If it looks like it has penetrated the skin and the hair in it has turned white, the priest will pronounce him unclean. It is a serious skin disease that has broken out in the boil. But if the examination shows that there is no white hair in it, and it is only skin deep and has faded, the priest will put him in a quarantine for 7 days. If it then spread all the skin, the priest will diagnose him as unclean. It is infectious. But if the shiny spot has not changed and hasn't spread, it's only a scar from the boil, the priest will pronounce him clean. When a person has a burn on his skin and raw flesh turns into a reddish white or a white shiny spot, the priest is examine it. If the hair has turned white in the shiny spot and it looks like it's more than skin depth, a serious skin disease has erupted in the area of the burn, the priest will pronounce him unclean. It is a serious skin disease and infectious. But if an examination there is no white hair in the shiny spot and it doesn't look to be more than skin deep but has faded, the priest will put him in quarantine for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest will re-examine him. If by then it has spread over the skin, the priest will diagnose him as unclean. It is a serious skin disease and infectious. If by that time the shiny spot has stayed the same and has not spread but has faded, it is only a swelling from the burn. The priest will pronounce him clean. It's only a scar from the burn. If a man or a woman develop a sore on the head or chin, the priest will offer a diagnosis. If it looks as if it is unclean under the skin and the hair in it is yellow and thin, he will pronounce the person ritually unclean. It is an itch and infectious skin disease. But if when he examines the itch, he finds it is only skin deep and there is no black hair in it, he will put the person in quarantine for 7 days. On the seventh day he will re-examine the sore. If the itch has not spread, there is no yellow hair in it, and it looks as if the itch is only skin deep, the person must shave. Except for the itch, the priest will send him back to quarantine for another 7 days. If the itch has not spread and looks to be only skin deep, the priest will pronounce him clean. The person can go home and wash his clothes. He is clean. But if the itch spread after being pronounced clean, the priest must re-examine it. If the itch has spread in the skin, he doesn't have to look any farther. For yellow hair, for instance, he is unclean. If he sees that the itch is unchanged and black hair has begun to grow in it, the itch is healed. The person is clean and priest will pronounce him clean. When a man or a woman gets shiny or white shine spots on the skin, the priest is to make an examination. If the shine spots are dull white, it is only a rash that has broken out. The person is clean. When a man loses his hair and goes bald, he is clean. If he loses his hair from his forehead, he is bald and he is clean. But if he has a reddish white sore on scalp or forehead, it means a serious skin disease is breaking out. The priest is to examine it. If the swollen sore on his scalp or forehead is reddish white like appearance of the sore of the serious skin disease, he has a serious skin disease and is unclean. The priest has to pronounce him unclean because of the sore on his head. Any person with a serious skin disease must wear torn clothes, leave his hair loose and unbrushed, cover his upper lip, and cry out, "Unclean, unclean!" As long as anyone has the sores, that one continues to be ritually unclean. That person must live alone. He or she must live outside the camp. If clothing, woolen or linen clothing, woven or knitted clothes or of linen or leather or leatherwork is infected with a patch of serious fungus, and if the spot in the clothing or the leather or the woven or the knitted material or anything made of leather is greenish or rusty, there is a sign of the serious fungus. Show it to the priest. The priest will examine the spot and then confiscate the material for 7 days. On the 7th day, he will re-examine the spot. If it has spread in the garment, the woven or knitted or leather material, it is spot or persistent serious fungus, and the material is unclean. He must burn the garment because of persistent and contaminating fungus. The material must be burned, but if If when the priest examined it, the spot has not spread in the garment, the priest will command the owner to wash the material that has the spot, and he will confiscate it for another 7 days. He will then make another examination after it has been washed. If the spot hasn't changed in appearance, even though it hasn't spread, it is still unclean. Put it up, burn it up. Whenever the fungus has affected the back or the front, when the priest makes his examination, the spot has faded after it has been washed. He is to tear the spot from the garment. But if it reappears, it is a fresh outbreak. Throw whatever has the spot in the fire. If the garment is washed and the spot has gone away, then wash it the second time it is clean. These are the instructions regarding a spot of serious fungus in the clothing of wool or linen, woven in knitted material, or any article of leather, for pronouncing them clean or unclean.